point of
Does your
view.
God command you to?
I'm
Does your God
deviating from
command you to come
something
into
that
chat?
hasn't been
Does your God
substantiated.
command you to come into chat rooms and push people around because you think
I'd
it's fun?
like the audience to know.
Does your God command you to be an asshole? Does your God command you to be about as charitable as a skinflint? Does your God demand you to fucking push people out of the way? Does your God demand you to turn a 9-person hangout into a fucking seminar for your own purposes? Is that what your God says you're supposed to do? Could you point me to which scriptures it says you're supposed to act like a shithead?
The evolution does not have an intent. Like, it's not trying to crack a code.
I didn't say that. I didn't say anything about intent, but do you understand that DNA is a type of a code?
That's not the. I saw what you did there.
That's debatable, but
that's
yeah,
not the same thing.
Okay, you can easily type into Google. You can easily type into the Google the phrase DNA code, and you will come up with a myriad of scientific sites that refer to it as such.
It's not a cipher.
The DNA code is a polymer. It's a string of nucleotides that code for the cell to execute a certain type of protein reproduction.
It's not a cipher.
Now, well, yeah, you know, I heard that echo 3 times.
Well, I'm going to keep saying
I didn't say that it was a cipher.
Well, then stop treating it like a cipher in your analogy. You said the more DNA.
Yes, you sound very upset.
You said the more DNA clicks together, okay, the harder it would be, the more improbable it would be to get the right numerical sequence. That's hunting for a code. This isn't
I
what
didn't
goes
say
on.
it was hunting.
That's
I didn't
hunting.
say
That's hunting for the right.
You're putting words into my mouth. Something
that's
with
hunting for the right answer. Okay,
you
are setting this up. You're setting this up in such a way.
I'll wait till you're bloated.
I bet that'd be a great idea. You're setting this up in such a way that essentially that evolution is playing some sort of game of bingo or guess the right number. It's not like that. This isn't there. The evolution isn't hunting for. Jackie was absolutely right. Evolution doesn't have an intent. It doesn't have a purpose.
Who said it did? I didn't say it did.
You imply that with your example.
No, I said there have to be certain random events that have to transpire for there to be an increase of functionality and fitness in order for there to be survivability. Now, I'll ask you a very simple question, Gus. What accounts for the specific arrangement of the genetic sequences in the DNA code?
On what level? On the level of an individual?
We're talking about at the base genome. It could be a genome of a microorganism. It could be the genome of human beings. The genome is a specific arrangement of nucleotides. Now, what accounts for that specific arrangement? And the reason why I ask the question is that the vast majority of potential arrangements would not yield functionality. Only a small subset of genomic arrangements of nucleotides yield functionality.
Define functionality.
So the question is, it means coding sequences that would code for either anatomy or physiology that would be functional, but not necessarily an increase of fitness. So Gus, in your view, what would account for the arrangement?
I need to understand.
Okay, functional means something would work as opposed to not working.
So by working, are you saying?
I'll give you an example. Suppose we had a DNA sequence for an extra toe.
Right.
Okay. Now that toe could either be functional or non-functional. It could just be there and do nothing. Or that toe could be movable and could be functional. It worked. Now, that functionality of that toe may or may not provide an increase of fitness that would aid in survivability and reproducibility. Okay? Now, getting back to my question is this. I never said that there was an intent or a purpose, but what I am asking you is what accounts for the specific arrangement of nucleotides that would have to accrue over a long period of time that would then yield an increase of functionality and fitness. What accounts for that, Gus?
That's a combination of factors, of which one of them is natural selection.
No. See, again, you simply do not know what you're talking about. Natural selection acts upon increases of genetic information.
Okay.
Natural selection only takes place. Natural
Is this
selection
going to be a seminar
only
or a
takes
discussion?
place.
Is this going to be a seminar or a
very
discussion?
brief. I'll be very brief. You are incorrect, and here's why: is natural selection is what transpires after an increase of functionality and increase of fitness in the genome.
Yes.
So what accounts? What accounts for
yeah,
the?
I heard the question. I heard the question. Yes, but what you're not taking into account is that natural selection is an external pressure that determines whose greater increased DNA gets passed on to the next generation.
That doesn't answer my question, so I'll rephrase it. So
It does. It does. Take it in aggregate. Take it in aggregate with my first answer and answer.
Within a universal.
Asked and answered.
Okay, so Gus does not want to simply answer the question.
I did answer the question.
Gus doesn't really understand what I'm talking
about. I answered the question.
Okay,
You're strawmanning me.
Are you done?
Stop lying about me. Stop bearing false witness.
Are you done, Gus?
I invoke that you're bearing false witness, and I demand you retract it.
Good.
By the tenets of your own religion, I invoke that you are bearing false witness, and I demand you retract it. Your God is watching.
Are you done?
Let's go!
Are you done, Gus?
Not by half. I can do this all fucking day.
Okay, good. I'd like to respond without being interrupted. Do you think
I want you to stop strawmanning me, and I want you to stop bearing false witness to what I said.
Do you think?
Or I will jam this entire conversation to a fucking halt until you do.
Well, that's fine. I would enjoy seeing that because that doesn't make you look good.
I don't give a shit. I don't care.
Good.
I will cover myself in fucking mud if I have to.
My guess.
To get you to be honest. To get you to be honest, I will cover myself in mud. To get you to be honest. Now, are you prepared to stop strawmanning me and revise your characterization of what I've said in order to be in line with factuality? Or are you not?
I don't understand any of that gibberish, what you just said.
Bullshit. You understand it perfectly.
These are just generalizations.
You understood it a minute past ago. I ask you the question again. I ask you the question again, sir. I ask you the question again, sir. Will you have honor today, sir? Will you go back and fucking revise what you've said about my answers so that it is in line with what's true?
Do you think I should have honor?
I'm sorry, that doesn't sound like a yes or no to me.
Why are you requesting me to have honor?
That doesn't sound like a yes or no to me. Will you do this or not?
No, I do what I choose to do, not what you tell me to do.
You're not the only one who can set train tracks down for an answer. That doesn't sound like a yes or no to me.
No, it doesn't.
So I will accept a yes or no.
Well, that's fine. You can do whatever you want.
We've got fun end games. Yes or no,
good,
kiddo?
That's fine.
Yes or no, sweet pants? Come on.
Well, I answer the way I choose.
You're going to keep misrepresenting my answer, or what? Are you going to keep misrepresenting my answer?
The way I choose to.
You answer the way you choose to? If the way you choose to doesn't conform with the truth, sir, you'll stand to me.
You tell me when you're done, Gus.
No, I'm done when you do as you should do according to the tenets of your own fucking dogma.
Are you a moderator in this room?
I'm sorry, what was that? I can't hear your stupidity. Don't talk stupidity and I'll be able to hear what you have to say.
Okay, well, if there's something that you think I should do, make it your case that I should do something.
I've already told you what you should do.
Why should I do that?
And now you're pretending not to understand.
Why, from your worldview, should I do that?
I'm not going to get into that shit. I'm not going to get into that shit.
Where do you derive shoulds and
I'm not going to care.
Gus?
I'm not going to care. I'm using your own worldview. This is your worldview we're talking about.
Okay. Well, you don't accept my worldview.
I am holding you to your own standards. I'm holding you to the standards in your own Bible. I am holding you to the commandments of your own God.
Mm-hmm.
That's you.
According to you,
that's you. That's your rules.
No,
not according to me.
Our species.
God isn't going to give a fuck how many atheists told you what when the time comes. God doesn't care about how many atheists told you what when the time comes. That's the commandments that was given to you in His book.
What God?
Now, why aren't you following them?
What God, Gus?
Your God. And don't start with me. You know which God I'm talking about.
Well, from your point of view, I'm deviating from something that hasn't been substantiated.
Does your God command you to come into chat rooms and push people around because you think it's fun?
I'd like the audience to know.
Does your God command you to be an asshole? Does your God command you to be about as charitable as a skinflint? Does your God demand you to fucking push people out of the way? Does your God demand you to turn a 9-person hangout into a fucking seminar for your own purposes? Is that what your God says you're supposed to do? Could you point me to which scriptures it says you're supposed to act like a shithead? Because I'd be interested in seeing them. Is that King James Bible or fucking New Reserved Revised Standard?
Well, every time you have a meltdown like this, I enjoy it because it makes you look bad.
The things that are melted into a puddle sound completely incoherent to you?
Yeah, you don't sound like you're being rational right now.
Well, I don't give a shit. I may not sound like I'm being rational, but there's a lot of people who think what I say make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You know why? Because they've said some version of it to you themselves.
Well, I think you do a disservice to yourself when you talk
I really don't care. I don't have to. I'm in the fucking luxurious position of not having to give a shit. I'm condemned already, remember? What's your excuse? What's your excuse for not following the tenets of your faith? What's your excuse for not obeying the Bible? What's your excuse?
Now, you see, Jackie, this is what a classic
Hello,
example
what's your excuse? No,
attack.
leave Jackie alone. Leave Jackie alone. Stop fucking around. You're talking to me now. You're talking to me now.
No, actually, I'm talking to both
you
of
don't get to be star quarterback anymore. We're playing both sides of the court now. Now it's your turn to play defense.
Can anybody tell me?
Now it's your turn to play defense.
Could anybody tell me what
now it's your, hey, are you paying attention? You're not the star quarterback. It's you and me, sweet cakes. Come on.
Could anybody else?
Why won't you stick to the tenets of your own faith?
I'll wait till you're done ranting.
I tell you what. You know what would be a great place for you to wait in a country called Smarten Up. That'd be a great place for you to wait. What a person you could be. What an addition to this community you could be. What a wealth of knowledge and capacities you have. What a skill with rhetoric and flourish you have. And what such things that you could share with this community. If only you weren't fucking hell-bent for leather on being some holy rolling, cheap-ass, skip-following fucking predator. And that's what you are here. You're an intellectual predator. You come looking for weak targets. People who you think you can push over easily. And the minute somebody steps to you with a real challenge and forces you to fucking play on an even field, you're gone. You fucking ghost like Swayze. Psycho was right. You're the most cryingest motherfucker up in here. About the only thing you haven't done is cry for a moderator. I'm surprised you haven't done that. You did that back in MK's room. I'm surprised you didn't do it here. Why won't you follow the tenets of your own faith? Why won't you show kindness and charity? Why does it always have to be about beating people senseless around here? Why is it always about making them look stupid, Darwin? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? That people might actually think you're fucking worthwhile? What's wrong with you? I know what's wrong with me. What's wrong with you?
Are you done?
No, not by half.
Okay.
Why don't you challenge yourself? Why don't you challenge yourself and answer any of the questions I've asked you in the last 60 seconds? Why don't you challenge yourself? What's the matter with you? Why do you have to be like that? What a place for exchange of ideas this place could be. If people like you would only stop trying to cut the weaklings out of their herd and smash them for your own pleasure. Why? Why does it matter? Teach them. But teach them gently. Such a person you could be. And yet you choose to be base and, you know, now I got to spend all my fucking time yelling at you. Why? I'd much rather listen. But you got nothing to say that you don't say 50 times over. What's wrong with you? Are you sore? Do you have some sort of physical pain? Is this something we can help with? Can we tell you you're a good person? Can we tell you that deep down inside you matter? Is there some way we can help? Because this is getting boring, Darwin. It's getting boring watching you work, man. It's getting boring watching you work. You know how sad that is from a guy like me who knows next to nothing about the scriptures? You know how sad that is? Wouldn't you rather walk away from a place like this knowing that you had taught people something, even if they begrudgingly wouldn't tell you to your face that you had? There are so many theists here that people love and respect. Wouldn't you want to be one of them? Why must it always be about blood on the floor for you? And this is me talking, the king of blood on the floor, and I'm telling you to take it easy. Doesn't that fucking matter? Don't you care? Your God commands you to love us. What have you done in the last 4 or 5 days that shows that you love any of us? I think you show more love to your dog than you show to us. I challenge you to answer me. I challenge you to answer me in any substantive way that doesn't involve rhetoric. I challenge you. Will you not take that challenge? Are you just going to brush everything I said to one side?
Gus, are you done?
Why do you think the Paltalk Power Rangers exist, Darwin? You conjured them up. Your behavior conjured them up, Darwin. You made them exist, Darwin. The Paltalk Power Rangers wouldn't exist if it wasn't for you. You did that. And then when you came screaming over here from Paltalk, you dragged them with you. And you unleashed them, not just on yourself, but on us. oh, they're fantastic as long as they're attacking you or they're able to occupy each other with philosophical talk. But once they get bored, this place turns toxic as a motherfucker. And none of that would exist if not for you. You did that. That was what your style of rhetoric and apology and argumentation has done. That's what you created. Do you feel no responsibility for that? Don't. In French, we have a saying: "Have you no head? Have you no heart? T'as pas de tête? T'as pas de cœur?" Have you no head? Have you no heart? Am I alone here? Is it just me?
Are you done, Gus?
Am I alone here? Is it only me?
No, I said the same thing to him.
Finish, Gus.
I said the same thing to him earlier, not so many elegant words.
Yeah. Are you done, Gus?
And his response is, "Are you done, Gus?" He hasn't listened to words you said. He just ignores you, and he's just waiting for you to finish talking. Just goes to show what a decent, caring, courteous, honest person he is.
Why, Darwin? Just humor me. Give me the greatest gift you could ever give me, and just tell me why. Why? It doesn't make any sense, Darwin. You don't have to be that way. Just tell me why. That's all I ask of you. And you can't even grant me that.
Gus, are you done?
No. No, I'm not.
Keep going.
I'll do this all afternoon if I have to.
Please go ahead. I'm enjoying this.
Until you listen. Yeah, I know you'll record it all, put it all up on your channel. Atheist Meltdown. That's what you'll say.
No. I wouldn't put atheist meltdown. I would put atheist hemorrhoidal attack.
Yeah, hemorrhoidal attack.
Yes,
really?
when someone basically.
When was the last time I accused you of having a hemorrhoidal attack? When was the last time I referred to any of your bodily functions? You know, the first person to bring up hemorrhoids around here is you. I never heard anybody talking. And I'm telling you, some of the people around here say some pretty prurient shit, and I've never heard anybody around here talking about hemorrhoids until you came along. Why does it have to be a hemorrhoid? Do I sound like I've got painful hemorrhoids?
Yes.
Do you know what a human being sounds like when they have painful hemorrhoids? Ow,
yes.
my fucking arsehole hurts. That's
what
they sound like when they have painful hemorrhoids.
Yeah, I'm hearing it right now.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Well, then how do you account for your tirades?
I am trying to get you to hear me. Why won't you hear me?
Oh, I'm listening.
No, you're not listening. You're waiting. You're not hearing me. Why won't you hear me? Do you really think that I am so depraved as a person that absolutely nothing that I've said should register with you at all? Is it really what you think?
Yes.
That even a busted watch can't be right twice a day?
I don't see anything that you've said is correct.
Really? You don't come in here, your behavior doesn't border on abusive. You don't take over chat rooms, push sometimes eight people at a time into one corner while you work away at the person who you think is the weakest there. When people try to edge into the
I had no such magical ability, Gus.
It's not a magical ability. It's a very well practiced skill. I'll call you a lot of things, but I won't call you unskilled, and I won't call you stupid.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very practiced skill. I don't know where you practiced this skill. I don't know how you decided to pick this skill up or where you learned it, but you've learned it well.
Gus, have you ever heard the expression verbal diarrhea?
Really? That's what you got out of that? After all I said, that's all you got was verbal diarrhea?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Why are you here, Darwin? Why are you here? If God walked up to you and said, if God looking like Morgan Freeman or anybody else you want walked up and said, Darwin, tell me why you go there. What would you tell him? Why do you come here?
By the way, you can call me Duncan.
I'd call you whatever you like. That's not the point. Why are you here?
No, it's Darwin's Deity. You can change your name to try and avoid Skylar's videos, but your name is Darwin's Deity.
Let him call himself whatever he wants to call himself.
Yeah, Gus, you can call me Evolution False.
A person has a right.
You can call me Darwin's Deity. You can call me Stephen J. Fooled. You can call me George Taylor, or you can call me Duncan Dawkins.
But that doesn't answer the question, Duncan. That doesn't answer the question, Duncan.
Did you like that, Christopher?
Why won't you answer the question?
I like that you have all these sock accounts that are basically like trollish memes.
What is it about my question that scares you so much you won't answer?
Okay, so Gus, are you done?
Why won't you answer my question? It's a simple question. Why are you here?
Done? I've been waiting this time to respond.
And you'll wait longer too until I'm satisfied.
Well, keep going, Gus.
Well, why are you here, Darwin? What is it that you're looking to accomplish? I'm
enjoying you accusing me of co-opting the room.
Well, sure, But that's not originally why you started coming here. You didn't know anything about me before you started coming here. So why are you here in general? Why do you keep coming into rooms? I mean, you come into rooms where I'm not there, so I can't be the reason that you're in every one of those rooms. So why? Why do you come here? What is it that you want? Everybody wants something. I come here for the company, frankly, and every now and then I like to have a fight. Why do you come here? It's obviously not because you're lonely, because you got no regard for anybody here. So why are you here? What is it that you want? You know, a really easy way to get what you want sometimes is just to let that thing under your nose and above your chin open up for the purposes of communicating what it is you want. Because good Lord knows you got no trouble talking about all sorts of other stuff. So why are you here? And no, before you ask, I'm not done. Why are you here? You here to have debates?
I'm waiting for you to stop your ranting. Are you done?
No, not a chance.
Okay, keep going. Keep going.
Are you that stubborn? You won't even give that little bit away? Huh? Do you think is it part of a cosmic plan? Do you think you'll turn into a pumpkin if you know? Did you have a vision of God one day and he told you that you had to come on G Plus and debate? And if you came on G Plus and debated and told anybody why you were here, he'd turn you to salt? Like, there's got to be a good story behind this somewhere.
He's trying to make us Christian or something. At least that's what he's going to say. I'm not sure that's true.
Are you done, Gus? Are you done?
Are you trying to win souls? Are you trying to convert people? Is that why you're here?
No, he's not done yet. Okay, keep going.
Are you trying to win souls? Is that why you're here?
It should be yes, but I don't know.
Why? And so much for always having to give an answer. But then again, I guess that doesn't apply to us. I guess it doesn't apply to the benighted. Are you here to win souls? Yes, no, maybe so. Because if you are, you're going about it real shitty.
Are you done? Gus, are you done?
No, not even slightly. Nope.
Okay,
I'll keep at it until you start answering my questions.
I'll
keep at it. I'll keep at it. I can do this all fucking day.
Be my guest. Go ahead.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm enjoying your rant.
I know you're enjoying it enormously, and that's great. But what you don't understand is I'm enjoying it too. So it's a question of whose enjoyment runs out first. I guarantee you, I was born stubborn. I don't know about you. Why won't you answer me, Darwin? What is it that you think you'll give away by answering me? Am I really so depraved? And if I'm so depraved, why do you bother talking to me or people like me at all? Why do you bother talking to the depraved? What's in it for you? What's in it for God? I mean, you're not a Calvinist. You don't believe in predestination. You were arguing with the Calvinists this morning. It's about the only fucking right thing I've ever heard you do. So you obviously don't believe in predestination.
Well, where did you get the idea that I don't believe in predestination?
That's what you said this morning.
No, that's incorrect.
Oh, I see.
So
you do believe in predestination?
I can demonstrate here right now. You don't have the foggiest clue of what you're talking about.
Well, maybe, but that still doesn't mean that my questions.
Tell the room.
Maybe, but that still doesn't.
Tell the room what my position. Tell the room what my position is on predestination. Then.
Well, you just got done telling me I don't know. So what?
It's easily demonstrable. Go ahead.
Okay. So you just got done telling the room that I don't know. So why do you want me to tell the room?
Did you just say on the microphone that I deny predestination?
I did, yes.
Okay, good. How did I deny predestination?
Are you denying the denial of my denial?
I'm waiting for your support of your claim.
I've conceded the claim.
Oh, you were retracting your claim?
Darwin, I've conceded the claim.
Good. Okay, good. Then we can move on.
Well, maybe.
I'm glad you conceded.
But you were arguing with the Calvinists about some fucking thing this morning, so you obviously don't agree with everything they have.
Right. That's correct. However,
so do you believe in predestination?
Your memory.
Great. My memory is shit. Fantastic.
Are you going to let me respond to you?
No, not like that. No, not if you're just going to do it to make me look stupid.
Okay, well, you keep on ranting. Go ahead. I'm enjoying you being a drama queen.
Oh, I know. Oh, sure.
Keep going, Gus.
And there's a whole long list of people who will say, why is Gus fucking doing to Darwin what Darwin does to everybody else? But as far as I'm concerned, it's about fucking time somebody did it. It's about time. And if nobody else wants to be the asshole, I'll be the asshole. I don't care. I really don't care.
But the thing is, you really don't have to work hard at it.
You're absolutely right. I was born to the role. You know, and your own God says that sometimes he uses different people for different things, probably according to their own talents, although that isn't mentioned in the scripture.
So yeah, in fact, he used a jackass to speak to Balaam.
Absolutely. So think of me as a jackass talking to you, and yet you still haven't decided to answer anything I've said.
That is pretty close to how I picture you.
That's great, but my questions are still salient. You can denude where the questions are coming from, but you can't denude the questions themselves.
If you want to think so.
You can't denude the questions themselves.
Yeah.
A piece of manure could ask you the questions I've asked you, and they would still be salient questions.
So, Gus, are you done with your rant?
Isn't that the genetic fallacy? Guys, isn't that the genetic fallacy? I think that is the genetic fallacy. Obviating points and questions because of where they may come from. I think you just committed the genetic fallacy. Hey, what do you know? I identified a fucking logical fallacy. Maybe I'm learning after all. Why won't you answer any of my questions, Darwin? What's the problem? What are you afraid of? If I'm such a jackass, if I'm proving myself to be such a fucking idiot, what have you got to fear by answering the questions I asked you?
Are you done, Gus?
No, not by half.
Keep going, Gus.
What have you got to fear? You're obviously afraid of me for some reason. What are you afraid of? What are you scared of? Just answer a few questions. It's no biggie. I'm curious. I'm sure you get curious. Every time you get curious, people answer your questions. How come you can't answer their questions when they get curious? How come it's always one way with you? It's like a marriage where there's only one person putting out. So it's no wonder nobody's happy in the end. So why won't you answer? It's not that big a deal. Why is it such a big deal? Doesn't look like a big deal to me. Why are you here? Why do you feel such a need to be combative with people to the point of abuse? Do you not understand what you could achieve if you switched your tactics? Really? Not the time of day for those questions? Reasonable questions? If anybody else had asked them, you'd see them reasonably, or maybe you wouldn't, I don't know, but they seem reasonable to me. But you can't be bothered? Not even a bit? Can't be arsed? Jeez, that's too bad. That's really too bad. But if you think that's going to make me stop, you're crazy. Because I'll just keep asking the questions. I wonder if I should phrase them in a song. Maybe you respond better to singing. Do you respond better to singing? I could hum a little bit. Darwin, why won't you answer me? No? Not even a little?
Are you done, Gus?
Not by half.
I'll keep going, Gus.
Okay, I will. Why won't you answer me? Knock, knock. Knock, knock, Darwin. Knock, knock. Open the door. Open the door. It's the welcoming committee. They want to welcome you. Stop staying in your house and peeing out the window. You're lowering property values. Knock, knock. Why can't you be a nice guy, Darwin? Or Duncan? Or Festivus, or whatever your name is? Why can't you be a nice guy? Why you gotta make people so mad at you? What's wrong? Is it a childhood trauma? You don't have to tell us what it was. You can just discuss the childhood trauma.
I'm sure it's not one childhood trauma that would do this to someone.
Probably a lot of childhood traumas. That's pretty sad. We're a pretty understanding bunch, you know. Most of us. Even the ones that sound like jackasses. But you're mean. You're mean to people. Why are you mean to people? What does it matter if you beat down some internet atheist? What does that matter? And if you're really, and hey, here's another question that you're not going to answer. If you're really interested in having an absolute knockdown, drag-out fight where you show an atheist the fucking folly, the peril of their position, why aren't you going after the big fish? Why aren't you going after the Dillahunties? Why aren't you going after the Aaron Raws? Why aren't you going after the Stuart Smalleys, the Seth, whatever the guy's last name is? Why aren't you going after those guys? Why aren't you going after the big game? Or hey, if you don't even want to go after those guys, how come I never see you in a conversation with Ozymandias? How come I never see you in a philosophical hangout? You know, every time you end up in Xbox's hangout, it's always to just start shit. I never see you talking to the big fish around here. When's the last time you took any of those dudes on? You don't ever take them on. No, you come into the free fire zones where you can push the mod around. And that's what you do. You push the mod around. And you piss, wail, and cry until you get what you want.
No, he got in a conversation with Ozzy once. Ozzy beat him down.
Well, Oh, geez, that's one time. That's one time. Let's multiply it by 10 to be generous. That's, by the way, something I do that you're not familiar with there, Darwin. Let's multiply it by 10 to be generous. That's still fucking a gazillion times less than you come around here looking for weak atheists to beat up on. Because be honest, between you and me and nobody else, everybody plug your ears. That's what you're looking for, aren't you? You're looking for the weak atheists, huh? You want the weak ones. You like to hear their bones crunch between your teeth. Oh, what do you got? Finger looking good. What's next? How come you never take on the really strong atheists? How come you never take on the ones who really know what they're talking about? How come you won't have a discussion about evolution with Fiona? When was the last time you had a discussion with evolution about evolution with Fiona? I don't know. Has it ever happened? I don't know. Maybe it has happened. Somebody will correct me, but I don't imagine that something has happened. I know you've talked to Steve McRae a bunch of times, and I know he's tried to put you straight, but you've got him on your troll list, so I don't know how often you're going to talk to him. Hey, though, if you really, really want to test the strength of your steel, why don't you go to those 15 questions that have been up on the internet since the dawn of fucking time, forget where they came from, and just try to answer them? If you really want to test your fucking metal, why don't you go through those questions one by one and fucking put an answer up? Any answer. Any answer would be fine. Well, part of the reason that list is so effective is they fucking hold it up there and you don't answer. You don't answer them. You haven't had an answer since the point that list was generated. And since then, the time that I've seen you come on these internets here, on these hangouts, you've only ever answered one satisfactorily, and it came from me. And then I find out later that your answer was fuckered anyways. So why, if you're looking at really making your mark, why don't you start there? Instead of coming into hangouts and picking whoever you think is the weakest person and fucking working them over until what? What? Until they bleed? This brings you honor? This brings you glories? You hang that on your wall? It's like a scalp or something? Oh, look, I made Jackie wonder if she knew all of her facts about evolution. Oh, fuck me. Scare me some more, hero. What? This is what amuses you? Why? Why? Is it because to do otherwise would involve actually having to do some work? Actually having to know what you were talking about? Actually having to have a level of actual scholarship rather than just sophistry? If that's what you're worried about, I don't see it. But I don't know. Maybe your knowledge about these things is a mile wide and an inch deep. If that's the case, you're doing a pretty good job hiding it. So what's the problem? Why? You just will never answer. And you just keep doing what you're doing. And it doesn't make a lick of sense. Nobody understands. And you keep bouncing around from hangout to hangout trying to do this same thing, this tired old dance you do. And sooner or later, people get fed up with you. They gang up on you, the hyena gang. That's right, because that's the only way to deal with you. That's the only way to deal with you. You won't be charitable. You won't play both sides of the court when left to your own devices. You will eventually create a two-person dynamic where all you do is sit and talk to one person for hours at a time, and everybody else has to sit quietly and watch it happen. All I'm doing to you now is what you've done to people over and over again, room to room to room. And if anybody says anything to you, you flip out and you fuck off, but you're never gone for long. I've seen you bump in and out of 4 or 5 rooms in a fucking day. So what are you afraid? You're obviously not afraid to keep coming in and trying it over and over again. Christ, even Seamus has a better set of methods than you do. You don't see Seamus picking on weak people. You don't see fucking Seamus just trying to figure out who the weakest person is and beating them down. I've watched Seamus in his own way. Attempt to edify people and teach them and show them things. He doesn't ask them the same question 15 times in a fucking row because he's trying to make some sort of rhetorical point. As arrogant and as fucking, football spike at the end zone as Seamus is, on his worst day, he's a better teacher than you. But that doesn't have to be. The two of you could be on equal footing. When you first came here, you admired Seamus. Christ, you thought the sun shone from his asshole. And there was a lot to admire about Seamus. I'd be the first person to say that. Seamus has a top-notch scholarship. If I want to know something about that period of time, or if I want to know something about the about the manuscripts, at least from the position of a theist, I won't hesitate to ask Seamus. He knows fuck all about the Roman Empire, but we can't know everything. But you, and I wouldn't be afraid to ask Seamus. I wouldn't be afraid to have Seamus turn around and flip a script on me and try to fucking pin me and try to make me look stupid. I wouldn't be afraid of that. First of all, because it's not possible, and second, because it's not what he does. But you, if I walked up and asked you a question, the very next thing out of your mouth would be, well, now let me ask you a question. And you'd spend the next hour and a half trying to figure out what the fuck. You'd spend the next hour and a half trying to make me look stupid. That's not how you teach people anything. Do you not understand that? You have nothing to say except to ask me if I'm done? Nothing at all?
Are you done ranting, Gus?
You really have nothing to say to that except to ask me if I'm finished?
Are you done, Gus?
Of all of those things I've said to you, you have no comment whatsoever?
Gus, are you done?
No.
Okay, keep
Answer
going.
me. Answer me. Answer me. Come on. Just give me an answer. I'll tell you what. You give me one fulsome, honest answer, and I'll be done. I give you my word. Give me one answer in the spirit of which I asked the questions, and I'll be finished. I give you my word. No? Not even one? I guess you're not crazy to have this end yet. I guess you really don't want this to stop. This is what you want. You want to keep me talking because you think every sentence I utter makes me look stupid. All it does is make me look tiresome. Tiresome is different from stupid. Being a pest is different from being an idiot. You got your pretexts wrong. You have nothing to say? You won't even take me up on my offer? Answer one of my questions in a truthful and open manner, and I'll shut up. I promise. I give you my word.
Gus, are you done?
You just can't even hand that over, huh?
Are you done ranting, Gus?
You can't even hand that over,
No,
can you?
you're not. Okay.
You can't even hand that over, can you? Is this really how your mind works? Is this really the intransigence of Darwin's deity? Is that how it's going to be? Does that make the slightest bit of sense to you? Darwin, talking to you. Knock, knock. Knock, knock. Atheists want to be friends. Knock, knock. Come out and play. You don't have to bring your football. We have one. We have a football for you. Come on. Knock, knock. All you got to do is be nice. You can come out and play. All you got to do is pretend that we're people too. Can you pretend that we're people too? Can you pretend that it matters to us too, how we feel when it's all over? That we're not pop-up targets? Can you do that? Is that possible? I think it is. Do you think it is? Hello? Hello, telephone. Telephone for Darwin. Telephone for Darwin. Who is it on the phone? Atheists. Come out and play. Let us sit and reason together. But with you, it's let us sit upon the ground and tell sad tales of the death of kings. Why must we do such a thing? If you truly have truths to teach us, must you humiliate us first to teach them? If you truly have the answers to the cosmos, do you have to be an asshole to put them across? Is that really what you need to be? Was Jesus an asshole? Was he really?
Okay, I was AFK for quite a while. Is Gus done?
No, you weren't AFK.
Okay.
You were right there. You were right there. It's like those times when you say you're walking your dog. You're not walking your dog. You're stepping away from the keyboard so people won't bother you anymore. It's all a tactic to you. Doesn't that seem strange to you that it's all a tactic? Doesn't that bother you a little? Just a little bit? Not even a slice? Not even a tad? Not even a pinch? No conscience at all when it comes to this? Really? Not even an ounce's worth of conscience? Not even like a milli conscience? A pico conscience? Ask me again if I'm done. Go on, ask me. Come on, you know you want to. Ask me again if I'm done.
Are you done, Gus?
No, not by half.
Okay, keep going.
But I'll be done the second you answer one of my questions. That's all you have to do. Just answer one of my questions, and I'll stop. I promise. I'll tell you what. I'll give you a pass for a whole day, for 24 hours. If I see you in a hangout, if you join a hangout I'm in, I won't bother you. If I see you in a hangout, I won't go in. Come on, 24 hours. Gus free. Hey, who doesn't want a chunk of that, huh? Christ, I could offer that to some of the fucking atheists I know, and they'd be on that like a monkey on a cupcake.
Can I take it?
Hey, monkey on a cupcake. If I offered that to some of the atheists I knew, ooh, they'd be harder than Chinese algebra. Look at Art. If Art got any harder, they'd call him the Russian tripod. Look at this.
Maybe it would help if you repeated your question.
No, he knows what the questions are. No,
Okay.
honey, he knows what the questions are.
Mm.
He knows what the questions are. There is one road to salvation here, just one. And he knows how to take it. Right? That's what his theism's been telling him for years. So he knows how it goes.
Gus, are you done?
Are you? Are you done? You done, Darwin? Darwin. Knock, knock, knock. Hello. Atheist at the door. Hello. Oh, who's that? Atheists. They want you to come out to play. They brought a cheese basket. Cheese basket. With Havarti. Hey, Havarti's expensive. Don't knock that shit.
I like cheese.
See? They're giving you their cheese. Come out and play.
Don't you like puppies?
Puppies!
Oh no. I triggered Jackie.
Barbecue or some other?
Holy
No, no, living puppies, please.
Well, I
Damn,
think
you're a monster. You want to eat living puppies?
No,
What's wrong with you?
no, that's not
Well,
everything.
what started on Pal Talk was something called evolution false derangement syndrome, and it started with one person. It started to spread to others. But the funny thing is, it's actually spread over here to Google Hangouts, where certain individuals who don't like what I say, they don't like how I dialogue with others, and they become not only obsessed with me, but they're obsessed about blocking me in any way they can by interrupting, over-speaking, or, for that matter, co-opting the entire room just so they can prevent me from speaking. And what's amazing is it is literally spreading from certain persons to persons here on the Google Hangouts. So this is something that Google Hangouts may want to look into.
I don't suppose anywhere in your explanation is room for the question why. Why?
Well,
Why is it happening?
what I'm curious, what really raises a question in my head, is why Gus, who when I first met him started out giving intellectual responses, and now he's emulating the power reprobates in just simply attempting to blocking me from speaking at any time.
When I
I mean,
first
for
met
the
you,
last hour, Gus has been over-talking and blocking me from responding in any way, which is exactly what the Power Rangers, I prefer to call them the power reprobates, are doing. So what is it about so many of the skeptics on Google Hangouts that they're obsessed about blocking some theists?
well,
I personally can't figure it out myself. I think
Mostly you.
that it might be, excuse me, did you want to rant again while I was talking?
I don't know. I thought you were asking questions.
No, I'm
man.
not done. I wasn't done talking, but if you want to block me from speaking, you can go right ahead and rant.
I
And
thought you were asking questions. Are you,
demonstrate
you're not asking
exactly
questions?
what I'm talking about.
Is this
So
rhetoric?
did you want to continue to interrupt me?
Well, I thought you were asking questions.
Okay,
If you're
good.
not
You
asking
keep on
questions-
interrupting me. You're exemplifying what I'm talking about. Go ahead, Gus.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think both of us are showing the worst of ourselves here, because honestly, you're doing exactly what I was talking about. Being absolutely uncharitable, being an asshole, being mean. You asked a bunch of questions, and then when somebody tried to answer them, you turned into a tit. I mean, this is exactly what I'm talking about. And as much as everybody sees my propensity to be fucking moralistic or righteous or holier than thou, they're seeing you for what you are too. That mirror is swinging both ways. That looking glass, pardon me, is swinging both ways. So who's better off? You say why are these people focused? You know, these people. You say these people are focused on you, and yet you seem completely oblivious as to the possible reasons why. You think it's because we're all deranged? Really? Is it? You think we're all just we're all nuts?
The answer is yes.
Really? Now, where would that assessment come from? Are you a psych major? Got any background in psychology?
Are you done interrupting?
So that's a question you're not going to answer. Okay.
Are you done interrupting me speaking?
I don't know. It's up to you.
Or are you going to choose
It's
to
always been up
block
to
me
you.
from speaking on the microphone?
It's always been up to you. That's what you won't get through your head. Is it's always
Okay.
been up to you.
I'll try one more time. Are you done interrupting me?
It's always been up to you.
Okay. So I'll just assume that he's done interrupting. Yeah, and it seems that in certain rooms where there's little to no moderation, the people who I'll say have the Power Rangers mentality, because it's not restricted to those who just wear the Power Ranger costumes, that they're bound and determined not just to disagree, not just to challenge, but to bloviate, insult, and block me from speaking. So I think that's more of an indication of what their true motivations are rather than I'm a bully. So what we just heard for the last literal hour was an attempt by someone who doesn't like me to block me from actually having a conversation with him and to actually block me from speaking. Well, the problem that this goes on, the problem isn't Gus, and the problem isn't the Power Rangers. The problem is the ineffectual moderation in the room by the room owner and by those who have the power of mods where they could stop this very bad behavior in a heartbeat. And they can say, you have 2 minutes, you have 2 minutes, you have 2 minutes. But in this room, we see consistently that the room owner and the moderators would prefer that a circus go on rather than adult, intelligent, back and forth, agreement, disagreement, and so forth. So that's all this room is. It's a zoo. And I'm done.
And yet you keep coming.
I do keep visiting the zoo. I like the zoo.
Why?
It's entertaining.
Oh, so you're really not that upset about poor moderation after all, are you?
Yeah, I asked the external live chat like if they wanted me to intervene, and they all said no. So I just kind of didn't want to like get in the way of anything.
And by the way, Darwin, they fucking hate me on external chats. They hate me. The external chats are where most of the people go that don't want to come into the hangout and tell me what a shitbird I am to my face. And if all of those people detest me, and yet they still want me to go on for an hour, that should be another canary in the coal mine, that maybe the problem here isn't necessarily me. Just a thought.
Gus, did you ever think of going back to school and becoming a psychiatrist?
No. You?
No.
No. No. So be it.
It's hard to be
Right.
a psychiatrist. I mean,
And
That should be
yeah.
a comedian.
Yeah, well, I go into a variety of rooms, and one of my motivations is through hook or crook to reveal the very nature of skepticism and atheism for what it is. And I think that, yeah, I can see you nodding there, Seamus. I think that the reaction that I get for what I say, how I dialogue and debate people, is a big revelation to people out there that are neutral and are trying to understand the difference between the various mindsets between the theists, the Christians, and the skeptics and the atheists. What you will find is pretty much most of the skeptics behaving badly, although there are some theists who behave badly, like G-Man and Matt Bell. But I think that more often than not, the theists are much better behaved than the atheists. So when the atheists chronically attack me from time to time, it's irritating and I'll express it. But at the end of the day, I smile because they're showing their true colors and that they're really driven not by their intellect, not by the power of their reason, but by their passions that there is no God, and they want to stifle anybody who might try to reason to the contrary.
Did you get goosebumps when you said that?
Well, having said that, I will show you that I might not be as intellectually up to it as you are, but I do have honor.
Oh, I would agree with you there.
But I do have honor. The jury is out to whether or not you have some, but I will show you the honor. You answered my question. I will keep my word, and I'll keep it starting now. 24 hours. Enjoy them.
Wow, what a blessing. By the way, Seamus, with your beard...